City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of your number one talk show, City Talks with Reuben Abati, on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051 FM. On this show, we talk about stories of political and human interests that affect us as Nigerians, as well as members of the global human community. Today, we're taking a very interesting subject, which is the report, the Sars panel report, and also the report on police brutality submitted by the panel, the Lagos State Judicial Panel, set up by the Lagos State government and led by Justice Doris Okuobi. These particular reports have been generating a lot of interest and controversy. Joining me in the studio to discuss this delicate issue that has kept Nigerians busy and concerned is a human rights activist, very well known, Comrade Declan Ihekaire. Comrade Declan Ihekaire is an activist, a humanitarian, and a businessman. He started his primary school education at local government primary school, Ihekaire, Lagos, before proceeding to Sakatinumbu High School, later Yewa High School, both in Ihekaire, Lagos State. He graduated from the University of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where he studied religious philosophy. Comrade Declan is a veteran activist who has fought so many struggles. That is, the struggle for the operation of tricycles in Lagos State, the struggle against the sack of medical doctors in Lagos State during Babatunde Raji Fashola's administration, the struggle against the plan to print 5,000 naira denomination note by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the struggle against the hike in Lagos State University tuition fee, to name but a few. He was honored twice by the National Youth Council of Nigeria for always standing for the masses. Comrade Declan is a member of the Joint Action Front, the June 12 Coalition, and also a member of the Igbo Conscience. As an agent against any kind of oppression, repression, and bad governance, Comrade Declan was an independent observer at the just concluded Sars panel of inquiry in Lagos State. He's currently the National Coordinator, Activist for Good Governance. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051 and leave comments on WhatsApp 09099 164403 and on our social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom and Facebook. Thank you for joining me in the studio. Declan Ihekaire, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, let's go straight into business. The two reports submitted by the Okuobi panel on the Sars protests in October 2020, and then the second report dealing with cases of police brutality. These two reports have generated a lot of controversy, with the lawyers on both sides, counsel to state government and counsel to the victims, arguing back and forth. And there have been questions also about the propriety of leaking the report to the public. What's your take? What do you make of the development?
Well, thank you so much. I want to start by saying that it's a privilege to be here today, if not for anything, for the fact that I was an independent observer at the panel, and I also want to state clearly that I'm holding brief for nobody here. I'm not a lawyer to either the state or to the Sars protesters. But the basic truth must be said today, and nothing but the truth. And I think at this point, both the panel and the Lagos State government had a good intention for the people. At least, if not for anything, at least they were able to douse the tension that was very high at that point in time. But one thing that I'm not too comfortable with is the report that is in circulation now. It really needs to be studied, and it really needs to be evaluated to really find out how truthful that report is.
Well, you understand that Council to State Government, that's AJ Wonekoko SAN, has said that there are at least 40 discrepancies in the report that is in circulation. Meanwhile, you have another lawyer, Ebunlu Adeburua, saying that if there is any attempt to doctor that report, it will amount to a cover-up, and that you will have no option but to come forward with more damning evidence. And then on the third part, the state government insists that, look, whoever leaked the report is not following due process because it was the Lagos state government that set up that panel. And the report should be submitted to the state government. And then the state government will set up a white paper committee, which it has already done. That white paper committee is chaired by the Attorney General of Lagos State, Muyosore Onibanjo. So, where do we stand in all of this? Because we're likely to see more controversy. Do you think there is perhaps an attempt on the part of the Lagos State government to doctor the report or cover it up, considering the fact that the state government is indicted, the military has also been indicted, with even the chief of defense staff dismissing whatever is in that report?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I will say at this point in time that Nigerians should concentrate more on healing wounds and not by causing more damage to the system. I'm very much aware that the EndSARS struggle came as a result of police brutality in this country, and I'm very much aware of the fact that the police in question is a federal agency and not a state agency. And before even the struggle against EndSARS, there has been several reports in the media, several reports on the streets where Nigerians have come out to say that enough is enough on how the Nigerian police was maltreating Nigerians. And so what happened in 2020 was an aggression, a bottled aggression by Nigerians to actually revolt against the attacks they have been getting from a federal agency. But I want to say that at a point, the struggle went beyond the EndSARS struggle. It goes into end the government, end bad governance, end the government of Buhari, end this, end that. To me, I want to say clearly that right from the onset, because I was at the panel right from the first day, and I saw group of committed Nigerians. I saw people who were committed, who were ready to get to the root of all that transpired on that fateful day at Lekki. I also saw a government, that's Lagos State government, who actually was ready also to give every backing to the panel to do justice to what transpired at that point in time. I remember clearly at the panel, the first impression we had, or I had then, was to see how the massacre issue will be unmasked. Because I know what massacre is. I understand what massacre is very well. And so my intention there was to see how it will be unmasked. And so every step that was taken to unmask the massacre issue, I was very much present. I was at the Lekki toll gate on investigation with the panel people. I was at the morgue, at the military morgue, where we found out that the morgue was under renovation. I also went towards the lagoon side, because at the time we heard that the people that were shot were thrown into the lagoon. So to me, to the best of my knowledge, I see a situation where both the panel members and the state government did absolutely the right thing by making sure that the panel was set up and the government gave them the backup that they needed to have. But one thing that I'm not comfortable with now is the attack coming from the lawyers of both the state government and that of the EndSARS panel. Fine, they have a duty to protect their clients. I have no doubt about that. But I'm speaking as somebody who was an observer and somebody who stands and believes any action that will go against the masses of this country. And I want to say that that report should be subjected to critical analysis. What do I mean by critical analysis? I have sat down on my own and I have looked at it carefully, and I found out that no doubt people were shot at Lekki Toll Gate, no doubt. But now beginning to say the way it's being seen now, I see it as going extraordinary to begin to attack who ought not to be attacked. And again, I want to say clearly that we just need to be very careful in this country. When election is approaching, we are bound to see so many things coming up here and there. We see PhD, poem, Down syndrome, and all those things. But I want to say carefully, and I also want to say that the whole bulk of blame, if there's going to be any, should go to the federal government that controls the military, that controls the army, that controls the security agencies. To me, Lagos State government has done the best I feel they should do or they could do. They even extended the tenure of the panel to making sure they have longer period to operate. In the report, I cited certain things that I was not comfortable with. For instance, where about four protesters were presumed dead. I wanted to see a situation where the panel would have come up to say, yes, these people have been confirmed dead. I also see a situation where the panel was trying to say we're equating what transpired on that day to a massacre. To me, a massacre is a massacre. You don't need to equate anything. It's either there was a massacre there or there was no massacre. So there's a lot begging for explanation. But to the best of my own understanding, I would have just said we should let the Lagos State government come out with the white paper report.
Well, but do you think that both the state government in Lagos and the federal government of Nigeria owe some Nigerians and even foreigners an apology in the light of this report, without prejudice to what the white paper would, agree to or disagree with? For example, the BBC was attacked. Arise News was attacked. DJ Switch had to run out of the country because of this, with Alhaji Lai Mohammed insisting that there was no killing there, and the state government saying, the state government never invited the military. Now that report puts a lie to all of these. Shouldn't there be an apology issued?
Yeah, thank you. I'm aware that some individuals were attacked. I was also aware of the fact that some individuals were also afraid of their life at that point in time because of the situation in the country. That I'm not holding brief for Lagos State government, but I want to say clearly that if there's anything that the government of Lagos State wanted to hide, I'm sure they wouldn't have given the support they gave to the panel in the first instance. That the Lagos State government invited the military or did not invite the military is a different ballgame entirely. I'm aware of the fact that in this country today, when it comes to the issue of governors being the number one security officer of their state, it has always been a ceremonial position, a ceremonial statement, a ceremonial post that I am sure and I believe that no state government or state governor has the right to order the police or the military without the police or the military taking directive from their authority. That is very clear, and that is why we have been advocating for state policing. If it had been state police, I would have just said that whatever that has transpired, the governor of the state or the government of the state should be held accountable. So at this point in time, saying that maybe the Lagos State government invited the military, I'm not too sure of that. But one thing I know that I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that there was a curfew that was declared, and that curfew was declared. And when there's curfew, there's restriction of movement and every other thing. I'm very sure of that. So to me, the apology at this point in time should come from the federal government. And I'm still saying it, and I say it without any regret, that everything that transpired was from the federal government and not from the state government. To me, I think the buck lies with the soldiers and the federal government to actually come up with their own white paper on what to say or what not to do. But as far as I'm concerned, I think both the panel members and the Lagos State government did excellently well by even engaging in what they engaged.
Well, now that the state government has said it has set up a committee to do a white paper on this, do you think that at the end of the day, the white paper that is being expected will be in alignment with the details of the report that is out there in the public domain?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I've asked friends who are lawyers, and they have told me that when a panel is set up and the panel submits its report, that it behoves on the government that established such panel to issue a white paper, and the white paper will come based on what has been submitted. There are some aspects that will be taken in, and there are some aspects that will not be taken in. So that is why I said let's wait for the white paper to come out, and at that point, maybe the protesters will come out with their own white paper to juxtapose or to disagree with the white paper coming from the state government. But as far as I am concerned, I still want to say that the government of Lagos State, to the best of my knowledge, meant well. The members of the panel meant well for this nation. They are all both suffering from what I feel is an aggression that should have been targeted against the federal government and not against any state government.
Well, some views that have been expressed go in this direction. One, that the panel report that is out there does not indicate that hoodlums infiltrated the ranks of the protesters and hijacked it. Second, that no thought was even spared for policemen themselves who suffered damages, because many policemen were, attacked, and police stations were burned down, people's properties were destroyed. What do you say to that?
Yeah, thank you. That aspect, I think I want to say clearly that I was not too happy with the reports also being silent in that aspect. All through my presence at the panel, I didn't see families of policemen coming with their own petition, but all I saw were petitions coming from people who have been brutalized, who had issues with the police even years before the EndSARS struggle. So I expected a situation where the panel would have given a window too for people who were also affected during that protest to have also submitted their own report, or would have also allowed them to also make their own input. For instance, I'm aware that businesses were destroyed, people's houses were burnt, several people were also killed, and I think they should have looked at it clearly, because when we're saying a panel of inquiry, I think the panel and the institution should not be one-sided. It should be all-sided. All-sided is saying that every party that was affected negatively in the course of the struggle that led to the setup of the panel should be included in whatsoever that should be done. That is my own position.
Well, it's good that Lagos State again is the first state government to bring this subject back to the front burner. Other states did not even set up any panel of inquiry. So maybe on that ground you can commend the Lagos State government. But are you optimistic that anything will come out of this entire process? Because after the panel, the white paper committee submits its recommendations, state government is likely to set up another subcommittee to take a look at it, as you have seen in similar situations in the past, and all that is needed to derail that report and to forestall any kind of implementation will be for someone to go to court and challenge the integrity of even the white paper itself. And then the matter will die a natural death. Do you see that possibility?
I'm not seeing that possibility. We have gone beyond this level. I don't see a situation where any reports will be covered up by any state agency. I'm not saying that. I think at this point we need to really point out one thing that is very, very crucial at this point in time. The protests against Sars in Lagos got louder because of the Lekki toll gates issue. I need to state this clearly. Before the NSAS struggle, Lekki toll gate to me has been a place where certain individuals feel a particular person owns the place, a particular person makes money from that place, and so when the gathering was held at Lekki toll gate, I saw a situation where it will be re-echoed that what happened that day, the massacre now, was instigated by an individual whose business was actually affected, and that is the operation going on at the Lekki toll gate. I was at the panel and I was shocked the day one of the lawyers was trying to make a case, that the toll gate should be perpetually closed, and at the end I began to ask questions. Why? And I was having the feeling that because somebody owns the place, an individual owns the place, and all those things. But I think we should go beyond this level of PhD, pull him down syndrome. If an incident happened, let us paint it the way it is and not start escalating issues where it's not supposed to be escalated. I'm aware of the fact that certain victims in the NSAS and before NSAS struggle have been compensated monetarily by the Lagos state government, and to me, those that were brutalized then were not even state police agencies; they were federal police agencies. And the federal government, I just want to see the federal government return all the money that have been spent by Lagos state government in making sure that they were able to calm down. Now, Reuben, you need to be at the panel. You need to see that so many atrocities had happened even before the NSAS thing. You hear people coming up to say that they were shot severally by the police when they were arrested. You need to hear how people come up to say that they were detained for months. You need to see how people would tell you that, I was detained. My wife came to see me. She was also detained. My family members came to see me. They were also detained. So these are things that has really, really made Nigerians angry with the system. Okay, and today a state government is bearing the brunt, all because Lekki toll gate is involved. I don't know. We just need to get things right, and that's why I said that both the panel and the Lagos state government have done extremely well, perfectly well. They have done well to the best of my knowledge, and there shouldn't be any reason for why the panel and the state government should begin to disagree. But to the best of my knowledge, I believe that the lawyers have a duty. That is what they are known for, to argue pro and against. But as far as I am concerned, I am interested in healing of wounds of whoever that has been affected negatively as a result of that struggle.
Okay. The Lagos State government facilitated the sitting of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry to the tune of about 800 million naira over a period of 1 year. And for about 410 million naira had also been paid as compensation to certain affected persons. But let me ask you, can anybody compensate for a life that has been lost?
Well, nobody. But one thing that I know of is this: at the panel, people who lost their loved ones, even before the NSAS panel, when they made their position, they were asked questions. What do you want? I was privileged to have had a lady who lost the husband to a police shooting somewhere in Ihekaire then, when she claimed, or when she said that, she doesn't have any other thing in life, she cannot even take care of her children, that she wants the state or the government to take responsibility of the welfare of the children, and she actually demanded for millions of naira. And I'm sure at the end, she was among those who got 10 million naira. It depends on what you ask for. And like then Justice Ukobi will always tell whoever was present at the panel that we are not Father Christmas. We give or we give whatsoever judgment we're given or whatever resolution we're given based on what you ask for. What you do not ask for, you don't get. So life to me is very important, and no amount of money paid to a deceased person family is enough. But what is enough is how to curtail the situation that it will not repeat itself again. And what do I mean by this? I want to use this opportunity to call to order our Nigerian police force, our law enforcement agencies. Protest is a legitimate right of every citizen of this country. It's a right given to the citizens in the Constitution. And so any attempt to curtail or to make it look as if it's a war between the citizenry and the state should always be avoided. Rather, the police should be at protest venues to protect the protesters. I have been a veteran in this struggle, and as a veteran, when I'm in struggle, when I'm in a protest and I see police begin to fire tear gas or begin to arrest, it gingers me to action. So it gingers me to begin to say, no, I will not take this. So the police should learn that they should be there as friends of the people, not as enemies of the people, or as police seeing themselves as friends of the state. No, the police should be balanced at every situation where there's a protest. And once that is done, I tell you, Nigeria will get a better society. People should be allowed to ventilate their anger. People should be allowed to ventilate their grievances against malgovernance. But people should not be dealt with the way police always issue directive that we're going to crush, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No, those are not the languages that should be had in this democratic setting.
Okay, shortly we'll throw our lines open so that our listeners can also make their own contributions. But already, via WhatsApp, there is Sadegbo Igadidiji, who has already sent in a comment. He says, I can perceive fear from the tone of our guests. I can understand, but the truth is that the visit to Aso Rock by Governor Sanwo-Olu is the invitation that led to the military presence at Lekki Toll Gate. I disagree with our guest when he said the blame should go to the federal government alone. That's a big lie. Sanwo-Olu called for help, and help he received from Abuja. How can wounds be healed without justice, without those involved prosecuted? I don't think so. Our guest is playing with words. Are you guilty as charged?
I'm not guilty as charged. One, I have not said those indicted should not be prosecuted. I've said it clearly here that the police were agents who actually started the NSAS struggle, okay? And so any police officer, because I remember then at the panel, so many police officers were mentioned, who some of them I know, who also I can testify that they actually dealt with the citizens. Such individuals whose name has been mentioned should be prosecuted. No doubt about that. So sitting down here to say people should not be prosecuted, I'm saying capital no. But what I mean by healing of wound, you can heal wound by prosecuting those who have committed the crime, but also making sure that such wounds are totally healed. And how do you heal it? For instance, a protest was held in 2020 and people were shot, people were injured, people were arrested. I am saying here today that any other protest in this nation, that the police should not start shooting people, should not start arresting people, should not start victimizing people. Those are the part of wound healing that I'm talking about.
Okay, are you surprised that despite all that drama in October 2020, the protests against police brutality and all of that, are you surprised that nothing seems to have changed in terms of behavior of the Nigerian police?
Very much correct, Reuben. Reuben, I'll tell you clearly that it's quite unfortunate, and that is because nobody has been prosecuted as far as I'm concerned. Nobody has been shown the way out of the system as far as I'm concerned. I still see people coming to my place, to my office to complain of police harassment. I still see people being detained beyond 24 hours, beyond 48 hours in this country. I still see people who are being stopped on the way and they are being searched as if they are common criminals. I still see those things. I still see a situation where bail, people are still paying for bail in this country. Those were things that actually led to that protest then. And so I'm not surprised. But that is why I said that the federal government should take proactive measure in making sure that its agency is called to order. Because most of these police people are federal agents, operators, but they operate within the state. And so if there's going to be any protest against them, or them, it will affect the states. And that's my position.
Well, I said earlier that A.J. Owunikoko SAN pointed out that there are at least 40 discrepancies in that report that is now in the public domain. And one example he cited is the fact that some of the people that, the panel said died, that some of them have since shown up to say that they are not dead. For some other persons, their family members have also shown up to say nobody died in their families. And yet their names are included in the list of the dead. Isn't that enough to derail the entire report? Because once you have so many discrepancies in a report, it can render that report null and void. And if that were to happen, where does that leave those who are agitating for justice?
Thank you so much. That is why I said we should not be led by emotion. We should just be very, very plain in whatever thing we're doing. I've pointed it out here that mere mentioning of somebody who is still alive as dead, to the lawyers, they know how to handle that aspect. But to me, I think that was why I said earlier at the onset that the panel reports as in circulation now should be subject to more scrutiny. It should be subjected to more explanation from those who released the report. If we're seeing a situation where somebody like Nathaniel Solomon's name is still among the deceased, I think they should also explain to the Nigerian people what actually transpired.
Anyway, okay. I just hope that they will be able to resolve those discrepancies, because the matter is now in the court of public opinion, and the perception out there is that there will be an effort to cover up. And it looks like we're at a point whereby no matter what the government says in defense, in clarifying the details of that report, the average Nigerian is likely to say, what do you expect them to say? Let's take a short break now. When we return, we will invite contributions from our listeners.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Looks like we have a caller on the line. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Dr.
afternoon.
Reuben.
Good afternoon.
Comrade Ogbanago Mohammed Ibrahim calling from New Koba. I totally agree with your guest, except for one, that he was trying to exonerate the Lagos state government from the whole thing. I think the state governor, Mr. Abati, called for help, and they helped him. That is that. And this issue that we always trying to say that police in the state are not always answerable to the state governors. It is lies, except for a state that is having problem with federal government. Else, the government can put call to any commissioner of police, and they will immediately deploy their men and women to any spot that there is problem. So we should not always be exonerating or thinking that commissioners of police are always answerable to the federal, that the governor has nothing to do. The governor has a lot of things to do. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. You want to respond to that?
Well, I think he has commended that I spoke well, except in where he pointed out. To the best of my knowledge today, I know the directives for the police to take actions are always been taken based on the authority involved. And I think if the state government has always found it very easy to use or to call the police as it is today to use, there wouldn't have been any need for them calling for state police to be established within the state. I want to align that I have always been for the masses of this nation. Even during the Sars protest, I was very, very active in it. And so here today, I want to say I have been fighting struggles against this state government, Lagos state government, for years. If you check through my profile, you find out things I've done against them severally. And I have no regret doing such things. But in moments of truth and in moments of wound healing, I must stand to say it is time we do what is right at every point in time.
Okay. Do we have another caller on the line? Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Dr. Abati, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And to your guest that is really struggling to use of words and not to use of words, Maurice from Isola. Look, one falsehood will need several falsehoods to cover it up. I don't believe the hoax of that so-called day, 2020. I don't believe it. And the report that is being bagged around, narratives that cannot be authenticated, discrepancies left, right, and center. Nothing happened. Look, when the white paper comes out 2 weeks or whichever time, I've told people on other platforms, blessed are those who don't over-expect, for they shall not be disappointed. If you expect that they will authenticate that unsigned, unauthorized, I mean, even when terrorists elsewhere do evil, they come up with they claim that they actually carried out the evil. Why couldn't the 309 page report be signed to? Why did somebody own up that, oh, I'm in charge of this report and I signed to it? It's all lies. And I hope this will not cascade other things. Because when the white paper comes out in 2 weeks and it contradicts, it controverts some of the belief they've been running with, some unfortunate media houses too, I hope they will not cause that trouble. Because most likely the truth, you can't hide the truth. The truth is that nothing happened. They just want to exaggerate from 78 to 24. But is that what you call massacre? I'm a good student of history. I read of genocide, Armenia. I read of whether the Holocaust is true or not. I have read histories of what massacre is. So if you want to lie with sense, but not with all that's been banned around. Bear parlor discussions. Some people said the president has not been involved. Why will he be involved with something that is not even official? Why will people of sane mind, if I put that word, be involved with things that nobody can claim, nobody owns a report? What if it was a subterfuge? What if it was doctored? What if somebody just want to be mischievous and put it online? And people have been running with this, only for the white paper to come out in about 2 weeks, and then they will not want to cause an trouble that, because they want to cover up some things. Why are we like this? Who wants the country on fire? Who wants the country burned? It will pay nobody. If Nigeria goes on in flames, Nigeria is not as small as Rwanda. The whole of West Africa is in trouble. So we don't need all this. It's a lie that was concocted from day one, and it has not been consistent. It's that one day today and that one tomorrow. Mr. Guest, pay the way it is. If the mic is turned away from you, I know you know in your heart of hearts that all that they claim in that so-called report is not true. So say it and let's sleep for good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Reuben. I've said it here and I'm going to say it, that I was fully in that panel. And what I expected the panel to unravel was a massacre. I said it here. But I said today, what I am saying is what could be taken as equating what transpired at Lekki Toll Gate as a massacre. And to me, equating that to a massacre is unacceptable to me. Secondly, the discrepancies in it alone to me, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable in the sense that, for instance, I mentioned Solomon, Nathaniel Solomon, I mentioned his name. So I want to say clearly that whoever brought out that report, to the best of my knowledge, has to be put to questions. I've said it. Because the discrepancies alone there, to me, as somebody who was at the panel, is enough to discredit that report. I'm also aware of the fact that there are certain cadres out there who are already saying that, the white paper will be read at the street. And to me, I would say we should be very, very careful in making such calls or such statements. If the state is saying, oh, we're going to issue a white paper, allow them to issue the white paper, not saying it will be issued on the street. And I'm also aware of the people saying, oh, if the government issues their own, we're going to issue our own. These are still subject to legal understanding. To the best of my knowledge, I'm speaking as somebody who is in the struggle, who is still also in the struggle, who will do everything to protect the interests of the masses. And I am not under the payroll of anybody. I'm a hardworking Nigeria, and I remain a hardworking Nigeria. And that is why when I'm fighting struggles, I make sure that I don't care who is involved. I'm not supporting the state, that I'm not supporting the panel members. But at this point in time, I'm saying that wounds should be healed, and we should avoid a repeat of what has transpired. And a repeat can only be stopped if we have a synergy, a good synergy between the police and the protesters whenever they want to engage in protest.
We have another caller again. Hello? Okay, we lost that call. Or is it back on the line? Okay. Please go ahead. Your name,
Hello,
your location.
Dr. Abati. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this is Tayo calling from Oba. Well, in my own judgment or whatever, all this panel is not going to yield any results anyway at the end of the day. It is better now that the Nigerians and the Nigerian media let us be telling the National Assembly that this colonial set-up policing system should be discarded and disbanded. With all this we are doing, we are just wasting of time. Now they are talking about state police. If you allow the state executive to form a policing whatever in the state, it will be worse than what we are seeing now. Let the people elect who is going to police them. If we have elected district attorney, by now a lot of people will have been in jail. All this panel setting up. What I look at George Floyd in America, was there any panel set up? The district attorney move into action, get people prosecuted, and they can see justice in a very fast way. 1 year after, we are still going on one white paper to another yellow paper. It's just a waste of time. Let's change the system. This system is not working. Let the people elect who is going to police them. Let us elect our district attorneys. Then like our guest said earlier, if we are protesting, we protect us. We make sure it takes care of the hoodlums too. Instead of allowing, if you think the executive should set up police, look at what last man is doing. Is it the federal that set it up? Okay, good luck. When they tell us to state police, all the last man will go in there. It's what is going on in last man, and is that not what will be going on in the state police? Corruption. Thank you, Dr. Abati.
Thank you very much. Let's take another call before we go back to our guest. Hello? Hello?
Good morning, Dr. Reuben.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Okay, sorry. Good afternoon. The weather is a little bit dull. For me, given that Sanwo-Olu called for assistance, because you will recall that on Arise Television, President Buhari said the youth wanted to remove him. So if Sanwo-Olu had called for assistance, definitely there will be massacre. Else he will take the fighter, he takes the throne. So at the back of your that.
Okay. Hello, please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Terry calling from Kant.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the matter on ground. I don't know why people are like this. Somebody call your radio station and be telling us that he read history, he read massacre, he read okay. He wants to tell me that nobody died in that shooting, Abi. He's telling us because maybe I wonder how much Lagos State government is paying him for him to call radio station and be running this bank, because the family member is not on that toll gate at that day. If the family member was shot at that day, will he be calling radio station, be telling us I read history, I read massacre, I put lying? When we all saw the live stream in that day, we all saw what happened in that Lekki toll gate. People are calling radio station to run their man because they are collecting the money from Lagos State government. I wonder how much they are paying that man for calling radio station to run his mouth. Because the family member is not among people that died that day. Eh? How much Lagos State government will pay that man that will make him call radio station to talk that word? How long will the family eat that money? When people are behaving, it's only God that will judge everybody. Even someone who said that day himself that he invite soldiers, but he didn't tell them to shoot anybody. So what are we now saying? Who are calling radio station to run their man because their family member is not involved? It's very bad. This country will not progress with this kind of character.
Comrade, do you want to respond to?
Yeah, I feel the pulse of the last caller. I as a guest here, I have not said there was no casualty. There were casualties, no doubt. But I'm only saying that we should work towards making sure that a repeat of such does not happen again in this nation. It's not a time for blaming anybody, but it's a time to actually punish those that ought to be punished. And I think the problem we have in this part of the country is that people who are indicted in certain issues, like the police officers whose name were mentioned at the panel during the panel sitting, who I can also testify that yes, they maltreated Nigerians when they were still in operation in Sars. I still see most of them now still on the street, driving exotic cars, still operating as police officers. And I interviewed one of them a few days ago. You, this guy, you are still, he said yes. What will happen? And that's the truth. Until we begin to see people being punished. Reuben, we're in a country where people are not ashamed of atrocities they commit. And until we begin to name and shame those who commit atrocity, I think we will not get it right. As far as I am concerned, Nigerians should be appealed to at this point in time. Nerves that are already angered should be calmed down at this point in time. And we should do what is right at this point in time by making sure that a repeat of such does not happen again. And I said the repeat will not happen if we have a synergy between the police and protesters, because there will always be protests in this nation as long as the governance of this nation goes the way it's going.
Okay, there is a question for you on Zoom. Let me see if I can read it from this distance. Here, the question reads: senior lawyers are already arguing over the panel report. How do you think this will make the panel report only of sound and fury and signifying nothing?
Well, I said it here that the lawyers have their own work to do. I will tell you clearly, as a Nigerian and as an observer at the panel, at the time I was angry with the legal team of both the NSAS and the government. I was even angry. I was also angry when I say government. I also mean the federal government, because the police also had their own lawyers there. A situation where it's glaring that somebody was brutalized, and we could see the evidences, and the lawyer is there defending what is not defendable. I'm not too comfortable with that. So at this point, I think we should eschew the legal aspect of this thing and look at the human face of it. Look at how we can make sure that those pained are not pained again. The legality or illegality of whatsoever thing will keep on aggravating issue. To me, as a layman who is not a lawyer, I see what they are doing now as playing to the gallery as far as I'm concerned. That's the two sides. But the bulk of the whole thing lies with the state actors, that is government itself, to make sure that they don't lose focus. Rather, they should concentrate in making sure that those who has been affected one way or the other are well taken care of.
Well, it looks like we have another caller on the line.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Reuben Abati. And I greet our guests. You have to look here from Ihekaire. Number one, let me say I disagree with the explanation that Lagos governor is not culpable. In fact, he's number one when you talk of culpability. And going to the president is the commander-in-chief. That is my area. The area is concentrating as regards police brutality. That is step one. The step two, which is the biggest crime against humanity, was what happened at Lekki. And that was what really attracted the whole world. Until now, the whole world is still talking about that, including the American U.S. Secretary that came here and everybody. Commander-in-chief of Armed Forces is the only one who is legitimately having the right of telling any soldier to go out. And these soldiers were there. They asked them, they said they were not there. Later they accepted in that panel if he was truly there. And he said they shot no live bullet. Later they agreed. And if you shot the live bullet, to who? To the head or to kill human beings, their own children. The truth is that what happened there was a massacre. It was a massacre. Go check the documentary of BBC by Jones and many more. The governor denied, he did not call them. He told the BBC, he told the later he now said that he called them. What are you talking about? If the democratically elected governor is now calling soldiers to come and effect a curfew at 4 p.m. in a city like Lagos, later it says 7 p.m. What do you think would happen? Our governor is of a sound mind, and everything should have known the consequences of what he was doing. So as a result of what I'm saying, he is the chief accessory to the massacre that happened. Though all of them, they may do whatever policy they want to do. ICC is interested and everybody is interested. Whether it is 10 years, it is 15 years, all of them will be dragged before the International Criminal Court. Premium Times did the report. Many other people did the report. They want to do whatever with it. And you are talking about the state that organized a panel. Was it not in this country when a military governor and the president organized an election from local government to state government, a national assembly to an election, and presidential election and annulled that election? So Nigeria is a place where hypocrisy is always the order of the day. This is going to be an exception. And I like what people are saying. People are Nigeria. This is a matter for the global community. International criminal offense has been committed by the Nigerian military. There was a chief of staff. That chief of staff has a name. Go to Sudan, former president of Sudan. What is he facing today? You think they can go scot-free? Whether they want to play politics, they want to do power, the truth is that like the justice must be done. And those people who are killed, where is it they switch? Is she lying? Was it not a live streaming? And you are telling me you are not going to mention the Abati Sanwo-Olu. Abati Sanwo-Olu invited all of them and he prepared the ground for that massacre. Good morning.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Well, do we take one more call before we bring the program to a close? Okay, well, do you want to react to what the last caller said?
Well, the last caller has spoken, and I appreciate his concern. But I want to say clearly at this point in time that I was at the panel. At the time, I was even angry with the military when they were trying to justify how they came to the Lekki toll gate, how they fired shots that were not supposed meant to be.
Dr. Reuben Abati and the guest in the studio. My name is Biodun Badmos. I'm calling from Fagba area.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Please go ahead. We're just about to wrap up the program.
Good afternoon. You see, this Sars report, the panel report, or whatever that is calling Ulabalu now. What is missing there is truth. Truth is missing. And where truth is missing, justice is equally missing. Number one, Sanwo-Olu is the number one citizen in Lagos State. He needs to protect life and property of people. One thing leads to another. He needs to be sincere with people and be truthful. With truth. Nobody will blame him any longer. But if he's trying to play this and that, he will just put himself in problem. Yes, it's to protect the life and property of Lagosians. When it all started, even joined them, the protest. Who's supposed to be the beneficiary of this protest is police. Because what they are protesting for, at the end of the day, police are supposed to be 80 or 85% of the benefit coming from the protest. By the time they restructure police and what have you, they will enhance their salary and what have you. But at the beginning, there was nothing like a shoot aside or whatsoever. But when the hoodlums hijacked the protest, things changed. They started burning police stations, they started killing police, all sorts of things, and this thing get out of hand of the governor. You need to be sincere and tell the truth. The reason why he called Abuja was that police can no longer control this protest, and that's why he called Abuja. And then from there, they will now shift. And I'm very happy with Bono Goruwa son that is in charge of the matter. He will say the truth. These are the kind of people that if I know they will say the truth. So truth is missing. Someone needs to be sincere and be truthful to us. Come out like that. People will know that what you have done, because police were supposed to protect, are running away because they burn DRT, they burn police stations, they kill police, and everything. The police can no longer handle them. That's why I have to call. Then from there, people can be able to reason with him. Soldiers that should go and who give them the order to go and kill. Then we can now start from there. Good afternoon, Nigeria. I don't want to take much of our time, but truth is missing in all this investigation and what have you. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much. As we begin to wrap up, Comrade, your final thoughts on the subject for this edition of the program.
My final thought is that we should have learned from what transpired in 2020. The government should have learned, the citizens should have learned, and we should avoid a situation where we have a repeat of such again in this nation. There is no doubt about it that things are totally wrong with the system. And the government should wake up at this point in time to make sure things are done right. The police in question should understand that they are supposed to be friends of the people and not enemies of the people. The soldiers should also understand that. The government should also understand that they are servants to the people and not masters to the people. And so when everybody gets it right that way, I think we'll have a better society.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Comrade Declan Ihekaire, for taking time out to discuss this very important issue with us. And many thanks also to our callers and those who reach out to us on Zoom and Facebook and WhatsApp. Remember, the conversation does not end here. You can reach out to me on my social media account at Abati1990 on Instagram and at City1051 on all social media platforms. For those of you who tuned in late, no need to worry. You can visit our YouTube page, City1051, to watch the entire show in a couple of minutes. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave comments. And don't forget also to tune in next week at noon for another exciting edition of City Talks. My name is Reuben Abati. The show was produced by Adedoja Allen, Abiodun Oduton, Ayodamola Oludara, Bello Akim, and Oluwaseun Adetitun. Thank you for joining us. See you again next week.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.